Welcome to Talk of the Town, proudly brought to you by Uniquely Nelson. I'm your host, Chris Butler, with Simon Duffy, General Manager of Uniquely Nelson. Nice to have you back, Simon.
Thank you.
We're coming to you from the amazing Eight Plates restaurant on Trafalgar Street. Thanks very much to the team. Joining us today is Jenny Knight, who is owner of Storey Collection on Collingwood Street. It's great to have you with us, Jenny.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. And can you tell us a little bit about your story? Where do you hail from?
I'm actually a sixth generation Nelsonian. My lot came out on the Phoebe. I was a Brewerton. So I am the offspring of one of the founders of the business, Lester and Joyce Brewerton. And they started the business about 55 years ago, over 55 years ago. And I was just little when we started it. And we actually lived in the shop. The showroom was just a small portion of it. Dad was an electrician that he was putting a lot of power into the likes of Natamoti and Dovedale for the first time. And they needed electric stoves. So we needed somewhere to show it so that the customers could come in and have a look at the stoves. And so we bought in Collingwood Street, and there was just a little showroom, and the rest of it was bedrooms, lounge, kitchen, the whole thing. Oh. And we grew up, and so our playground was Collingwood Street, and we used to rip up and down there on our bikes and cause general mayhem.
So the Maitai River was...
That was out of bounds.
Oh, we're allowed to go there.
That was a big no-no. So yeah, but we knew our perimeters. But so I grew up in the business. We're not quite sure how old I was when I sold my first thing, but it was either 3 or 4, and the people thought I was so cute that they bought an electric jug or kettle or whatever it was, and it kind of carried on from there. After school, cleaning in the shop, rearranging displays, school holidays, helping mum pack things, stock taking. Stock taking was dreadful, still is. And it used to be shelving on it that said things like, I was alive in 85 and things like that, while you were sitting there doing the stock taking. So,
yeah, so it's in the blood, born into it.
It is. My mother's side is very much retail. Her grandfather used to do, had a general food store and a bakery in Gisborne. And then her father sold shoes in Tauranga, and he had about 3 or 4 shops. So mum grew up with it as well. So it just kind of happened, if that makes sense. We just...
So the shop you're in now on Collingwood Street, you're saying, is the original shop from 55 years ago?
It is.
Right.
The building itself is over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Our logo for Storey Collection, you'll see it. It's like an old villa with a veranda on the front, and that is what it used to look like prior to Dad taking it on and ripping the verandas off and bowling the garden and turning it into a shop.
So the question I'd have is, and you've answered quite a bit of it, but establish yourself in Nelson. What was it like being or going to school in Nelson in those days? What was it? What was it?
You knew everybody.
Yeah.
And when I say knew everybody, I can remember many years later walking down a street with a friend, and she said to me, "Is there anyone in Nelson that you don't know or aren't related to?"
Yeah.
And
being sixth generation would have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, well, yeah. But you knew a lot more people, and you there's a much closer community in the city centre. And the city centre, it was different. Yeah. You felt quite safe. As a kid, my job was to, on the 20th, run around with cash in a bag or a check and go and pay all the bills,
because things were put on check.
Yeah. And it was a different time. Yeah.
Different world.
Yeah, I mean, cash was big. There's a story that my mum went into the shop, and when she came out, my little brother at the time
Mm.
had got into the cash bag and was just surrounded by $20 and $10 notes.
You throw them up in there and go, "How
yeah,
much?"
yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, life has just changed quite a bit.
I remember with the 4 o'clock on a Friday,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
racing to the BNZ Bank in Richmond to
Yes.
cash a check,
Yeah.
have money for the weekend.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, then if you knew the local person out at Marpur, they put it on, you know, you
Yeah,
put it
and Friday nights were a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, but the town would come alive on a Friday night. There'd be the
Mm.
young men cruising,
Yeah, yeah.
and families would come in and they'd have fish and chips or something.
Yeah.
It was a special time, and that was the time that you got to go and spend your,
Yeah.
your pocket money.
Okay.
And
Yeah. All
Yeah.
the farmers came to town.
yeah, it was. There was a lot more predictability as well with retail, because you knew certain days that people got paid and people would come into town, where that's totally lacking nowadays.
Yeah.
If I could predict what was going to happen in terms of people coming and going, I could be a millionaire.
Yeah.
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 So
So going back to schooling days, what schools did you go to?
I went to Nelson Central School.
There you go, right in the
Yeah.
heart. Was
Yeah.
Griffin's factory humming then?
Yeah, Griffin's, that was torture. That was really torture.
What, the smell?
Yeah, because you'd be sitting at just before morning tea or just before lunch, and you could smell all this beautiful smell wafting across
Yeah,
and
that's right.
it was amazing. It was just a lovely time, and you knew a lot of people that worked in the Griffins, and yeah.
Did they ever take the kids through there on tours? I can't even remember
No.
going in there.
No, I just remember getting seconds.
Yes.
Yes,
Seconds. My aunt used to work in there, and she would come to must be about October or September. Dad would buy a big box of Easter eggs as seconds, and they would be hid in his wardrobe, and we weren't meant to know that they were there. But mysteriously they just the stock went down.
Yeah.
And then on to, was it Nelson Intermediate, then college?
Yes, Nelson
Yeah.
Intermediate, and then Nelson Girls.
Yeah.
And then I had a stint at the Nelson Polytechnic, as it was known in those days, studying accounting. And then after that, I went to work at TNL Freighting doing accounting. But accounting's not my thing, because I'm creative and people don't like creative accounting.
Right,
That kind of puts
but
it behind bars.
isn't that what most people need?
Yeah.
Until the IRD
Yeah.
catches up with you.
Yeah.
Not.
So accounting was something, it's beneficial now running my own business,
Yes.
but it's not me.
Yeah, right.
So
So what would you find the most challenging aspects of having your own business? Yeah, and what's the most enjoyable part? Because it's both sides. What's the
probably one of the most challenging things is the technical aspect. When we first started off doing lighting, and because that's what we do, a lot of lighting, and we do home decor, but our lighting is our predominant thing that we sell. It used to start off that you just put a light in the middle of a room, and that was it. But now it's a lot more technical, and we do all sorts of different lighting effects. So you've got accent lighting, and general lighting, and task lighting, and then that's without even getting into the whole LED and all that. So that would be a challenge. The other challenge is it's a bit of a laugh, and that my daughter and I, well, all of our family, the first thing we do wherever we go, we critique the lighting.
Yeah. Oh, they're coming around for Christmas again.
Yeah.
The light bulbs.
Yeah. Or we go sit into a restaurant, and my husband just looks at me and goes, "Would you just stop looking at the lighting, please?"
Look away. Look away.
Yeah. So
So how did you get it? Well, back involved in the business. So what was that story? So you did accounting at TNL, but
yeah. So
how did you then end up in the business?
Well, I got married, and we had 4 children, but my husband and I made a decision that I wanted to be at home for my children.
Yes.
My mum was one of the first mums that was working at the time. I was a unique animal at school, and I wanted to be home for my children. So Richard and Tina. Richard's my brother and Tina's my sister-in-law, and they took the business over from mum and dad, and they got to the stage where they were having young kids, and we were at the stage where our children were just about off our hands, and I rediscovered my passion for lighting and home decor and that kind of thing, and so I bought the business off them. So that's why we're called Storey Collection, because we are multi-storied, and the business started off with mum and dad doing with stoves and electrical appliances. Rich and Tina brought in more of the lighting aspect. Mum did do it, but it became more focused on that. And then we've put in, Rich and Tina did a little bit of the home decor and furniture, but we've brought that in more as well. So, and then the story hasn't stopped. And that I've got two daughters, that one that is currently working with me and another one that will be. And my grandson was in the shop today. He's only 7 months old, so who knows? He might go after his father and do his IT.
He might sell a jug, just like you said. 7 months, cup of tea.
And going back to what Simon was talking about, so the enjoyment part, what do you most like about the business?
What I love is when, for instance, when somebody comes in and they go, look, my lighting is driving me nuts, and we sit down and we work out, and then for them to come back in and go, wow, I just love what you've done. It's amazing. It just makes you feel really good that you've actually helped somebody and that you've got this amazing result from it. So that's one of the big ticks that we all enjoy.
So did you, starting off back in there, the stoves and electrical appliances into more lighting, and also I noticed within your shop you have chairs or little other things besides lighting or decor, straight decor. Was that a gradual process?
It was.
And that's something that you brought into the business?
It was there before, but what happened was, it sounds really silly, but lighting is actually seasonal. And so over November, December, January, February, lighting drops off. You get the big shutdown over Christmas in particular, but you find that you haven't got a lot of lights being sold compared to the other times of the year. So we need to get some cash flow. And so I thought, right, I'll come up with this policy, because we used to have cabinets, white boxes that we put all the table lamps on. And nobody's come in and said to me, can I buy a white box? So I thought, right, if we're going to have it in the showroom, our general rule is it's got to be able to be sold. Yeah. And so it was to get a cash flow, because a lot of the home decor and things actually starts off in spring and goes through till about March or April with the sales. So it's they work hand in hand. Yeah.
Very good. Spare time, A, do you get any? And B, what do you like to do?
We've got a reasonably large section, and on a Saturday I normally get up early and I go out to the garden, because nobody wants to be out there with me. And I just garden away until the heat gets to me, and then I particularly at this time of the year, and then at this time of the year I do a lot of preserving and bottling and that kind of thing, because again, that's that whole creative thing. It just ticks my box.
Yeah, right. Lovely.
So you operate very close in the CBD. What's your passion, or what do you love about being in the heart of the city? Even though you may think but you actually are right in the CBD. It's
kind of one of the things I've noticed, even walking here, to this, is there's a lot more people. It used to be, when I was growing up there, I think there might have been 3 places, someone will correct me, maybe 4, that you could go and eat out. And everyone, I think, had their own sandwiches, you'd take them to work. But now you look out there and there's just a lot more people enjoying and just relaxing, having cups of coffee. just relating to each other. So that's pretty cool. It's quite a nice vibe.
And a wide selection of different types of food,
Oh,
foods
yeah.
as opposed to sausage rolls and a
Yeah,
And an egg semi.
that's right.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's
That's
very
right.
hard to get past an egg semi. Sorry, but I love
It is, but it's very hard to get these days.
It's very hard.
Yeah. So after your stroll,
Yes.
did you have any thoughts about, and have you thought about what you would like to see with Nelson City? There's a lot of talk about revitalisation of our city. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, we need to do it as a community, not necessarily think of it as a council thing. I mean, we're all complaining because our rates go up. So if we have some amazing project to revitalise it, but it costs us heaps, then that can't be beneficial to us as ratepayers, whether we rent or whatever, because everything's going to go up. But just, I think maybe just taking ownership for a start, and we're conscious of that. We've been having a big discussion about what we can do to make our shop better. Just I suppose, yeah, more that community thing, and not waiting for someone to necessarily do something. Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like that situation where, how do you fix the planet?
Yeah.
You look after your own backyard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's almost what could we do to vitalise our little spot, to
Yes,
make it,
yeah.
to add to the bigger picture. Very good point. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this, you're not the only person in town who's starting to think that way.
Mm.
Is don't wait for someone to come
No.
and fix it. Go,
No.
okay, what can we do? And collectively.
I've been thinking a lot about different businesses that have failed recently. Some are pretty high profile at the moment, and it made me sit back and think. And we can't blame other people for what's going on, because if we do, you're going to get bogged down. You need to stop, and you need to recognize what your customer base is. You need to become a destination. The days of just being a shop and people coming in and out are gone, because that's what you do online. If you're going to a shop, you're going for an experience. So there's there. And the other thing is we need to adapt. And that's the beauty of being a small business, is that you don't have the huge mechanism that it takes to actually, like slowing a big boat. You can actually pivot a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And we need to recognise that things are changing. We need to recognise that there will be some markets that will just be gone. And
change is good.
It is.
And if you need to change, it's the thing of adapt and survive.
Well, I think that's what's kept us going so long, because we couldn't survive just selling stoves. The market changed.
Well, I mean, we're not just talking about current times, are we?
No.
This is something that people have had to do over generations.
It is. Yeah.
Very good, Jenny. Very insightful. I like that.
That one.
Appreciate that. Hey, look, thanks very much for coming in and having a chat to us. Certainly about the history, the family history, and of course, running Storey Collection. So don't forget, they're on Collingwood Street. So obviously all welcome to come in and have a browse. Fantastic. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
And Jenny, I promise next time I come in the shop, I will start tweaking things. just
does he leave things alone, or does he mess it up all the time?
Good.
No, pretty good.
I'm
Is
pretty
he?
good.
Yeah.
That'll be a first. Okay, a big thank you to Jenny Knight, owner of Storey Home Collection on Collingwood Street. And as always, a big shout out to the team at 8 Plates Restaurant, our fantastic venue on Trafalgar Street. You can find this episode along with others at uniquelynelson.co.nz or on talknelson.co.nz. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next time for more from the Talk of the Town. This is Chris Butler and Simon Duffy signing off. Until next time, Nelson, stay unique.